Welcome to Noun Tutorial TV. Like, share and subscribe. CSS243 Principles of Security Practice and Management. Wrote Unit 3 in Module 3. Abisoyales in Loi. Abisoyales in Loi wrote Unit in Module 3. 3 Abisoyales in Loi wrote Unit 3 in Module 3 A layman definition of is the protection of life and property of a person. Security. A definition of security is the protection of life and property of a person. Layman. Argued that the essence of a state is to provide law and order which are attained through effective security management. Thomas Hobbes. A layman definition of security is the protection of life and property of a person. In time, definition of security goes beyond the traditional military ways of protecting the state against internal and external aggression. Contemporary. Nigeria began to experience deepened crisis and insecurity since the emergence of oil boom in the when our problem was not basically how to generate funds but how to spend it. 1970s underscores the strategic importance that self-sustenance in food production has on the security of any nation. Food security. A man is an angry man. Hungry. Involves safety against HIV/AIDS pandemics and other diseases like malaria that accounts for a very high mortality rate. Health security. It is part of responsibilities to provide health security for its citizens, knowing the impact that good health condition can have on the development of any country. Government. It is part of government responsibilities to provide for its citizens, knowing the impact that good health condition can have on the development of any country. Health security. It is part of government responsibilities to provide security for its citizens, knowing the impact that good health condition can have on the development of any country. Health. Helps to guide people against reckless lifestyles that can aid pandemics. Enlightenment. Enlightenment helps to guide people against reckless lifestyles that can aid pandemics. Can be described as a way of putting in place measures and strategies that will ensure that every individual in the state is not only entitled to employment but also has the right to a living wage. Economic security. UNEP stands for United Nations Environment Programme. Can be described as the total surrounding or external conditions within which an organism or a community exists. Environment. UNCLOS stands for United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea. Is type of security which involves protecting every individual from any physical violence. Personal security. Security prevents the individual from physical aggression against himself or herself. Personal. Form of security engenders the need to respect traditional relationships and social values of the people by protecting the people from losing such communitarian values. Community security. Denotes protecting the state against any internal and external aggression. Territorial security. According to the it is estimated that yearly almost 1.6 million people die due to violence. World Health Organization, WHO. WHO stands for World Health Organization. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, it is estimated that yearly almost million people die due to violence. 1.6 According to the World Health Organization, WHO, it is estimated that yearly almost 1.6 million people die due to violence. Is a concept that has attracted huge attention among the scholars in peace and conflict studies, criminology, and security studies as well psychology. Violence. CDC stands for Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, on its part defined as injury inflicted by deliberate means, which includes assault, as well as legal intervention, and self-harm. Violence. Is aggressive behavior that may be physically, sexually, or emotionally abusive. Violence. Dash is where a child, adolescent, or group directly or indirectly ill-treats, injures, or kills another or others. Physically abusive behavior. The dash can involve pushing, shoving, shaking, punching, kicking, squeezing, burning or any other form of physical assault on a person, or on property. Aggressive behavior. Dash is where there is verbal attacks, threats, taunts, slagging, mocking, yelling, exclusion, malicious rumors. Emotionally abusive behavior. Dash is where there is sexual assault or rape, NOV.AS. RES. Sexually abusive behavior. Dash is the exertion of physical force so as to injure or abuse. Violence. Violence is the dash of physical force so as to injure or abuse. Exertion. Violence is the exertion of dash so as to injure or abuse. Physical force. Violence is the exertion of physical force so as to dash or abuse. Injure. Violence is the exertion of physical force so as to injure or dash. Abuse. Dash argued that the power of the state include the monopoly on the legitimate use of physical force or violence within its defined territory. Max Weber. Dash is so fundamental to the business of governance. Power. At levels of dash, power plays a very important role to ensure that the followers comply with the rules and regulations guiding their relations within and outside the organizations. Leadership. At levels of leadership, dash plays a very important role to ensure that the followers comply with the rules and regulations guiding their relations within and outside the organizations. Power. At levels of leadership, power plays a very important role to ensure that the dash comply with the rules and regulations guiding their relations within and outside the organizations. Followers. At levels of leadership, power plays a very important role to ensure that the followers comply with the rules and regulations guiding their relations within and outside the dash. Organizations. Dash are neither toys nor pleasant objects, but they are objects of destruction and harm. Dangerous weapons. According to the homicide can be classified into two, which include criminal homicide and justifiable homicide. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. FBI stands for Federal Bureau of Investigation. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, can be classified into two, which include criminal homicide and justifiable homicide. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, homicide can be classified into two. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, homicide can be classified into two, which include criminal homicide and justifiable homicide. Are any aggressive actions which are outlawed or prohibited by the law. Violent crimes. Violent crimes can be classified into two. Violent crimes can be classified into two, and Domestic and non-domestic. Involves any action targeted towards wrong or improper use of another person. Abuse. Is a form of abuse committed against children by adults. Child sexual abuse. Involves incest sexual activity against a child, but it does not always mean that the offender must have had sex with the victim before this kind of offense would have been committed. Child sexual abuse. Is not usually regarded as a criminal act, but it has the tendency to bring the sufferer or victim of such abuse to aggressive behavior leading to crime. Emotional abuse. Is unwanted sexual activity like touching some sensitive parts of the victim. Sexual abuse. Involves subtly compelling the victim into a sexual activity. Sexual abuse. Is a form of violent crime, which involves unlawful attack aimed at causing bodily injury to another party or person. Assault. Is illegal beating that may lead to injuring another person. Battery. Violent crime involves the killing of another person. Homicide. Can be regarded as homicide in certain proscribed conditions. But, it is act of killing another human being with premeditated malice. Murder. Dash is an unlawful act of engaging another person in sexual intercourse through the use of physical force. Rape. Dash is a forcible and unlawful carnal knowledge of a person. Rape. Dash is a violent crime in which a person damages or destroys another person's property by breaking, burning, or any other forms of destruction or impairment. Property damage. Dash is a malicious burning of another person's house. Arson. Dash kind of violent crime is not usually crime per se in Nigeria and some other places. Cruelty to. Dash is form of violent crime in which a person carries out violence against another person within the same household. Domestic violence. Dash is often defined as human attack targeted at harming another human being. Violence. Dash is often referred to as a form of violence involving child abuse, elder abuse, other forms of aggressive behavior between two or more people within the same family, or household, domestic violence. According to the U.S. Office on the Violence Against Women, OVW, Dash can be defined as a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain power and control over another intimate partner. Domestic violence. OVW stands for dash dash. Violence against women. The Children and Family Court Advisory and Support Service through its domestic violence assessment policy described as patterns of behavior characterized by the misuse of power and control by one person over another who are or have been in an intimate relationship. Domestic violence. Dash presented 3 phases to explain the impact that a domestic violence will have on the relationship between the perpetrator and victim. Lenore Walker. Lenore Walker presented dash phases to explain the impact that a domestic violence will have on the relationship between the perpetrator and victim. 3. In dash phase, there is tension freezing. The atmosphere is rented with affection, apology, and end to the violence. The perpetrators of the violence usually demonstrate a sense of regret for the aggressive behavior exhibited by them against the victims. Honeymoon phase. Dash phase is greeted with breakdown in communication as tension and fear of violent outbursts will rent the air. Tension building phase. At dash stage, the victim will try to appeal to the perpetrator to be calm and reason along with him/her to find solutions to their conflict relations. Tension building phase. Dash breakdown usually creates misunderstanding between parties. Communication. In dash stage, there is evident consequence of communication breakdown. Acting out phase. According to psychological theorists of domestic violence, the dash characteristics of the offender are responsible for his/her domestic violent behavior. Personality traits and mental. Examples of personality traits may include dash dash. High temperament or getting angry much quickly, and low self-esteem. Dash are said by Good, 1971, to be some of the fundamental sources of domestic violence, especially in a family where it is only one of the partners that provides the needs of the family. Resources. Dash may include cocaine, heroin, marijuana, weeds, to mention a few. Hard drugs. SOP stands for dash dash. Standard operations procedures. Dash is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of class, age, sex, profession, culture, race, etc. Domestic violence. Domestic violence is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of age, sex, profession, culture, race, etc. Class. Domestic violence is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of class, dash dash, sex, profession, culture, race, etc. Age. Domestic violence is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of class, age, dash dash, profession, culture, race, etc. Sex. Domestic violence is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of class, age, sex, profession, dash dash, race, etc. Culture. Domestic violence is experienced in every part of the world irrespective of class, age, sex, profession, culture, dash dash, etc. Race. The Malthusian theory as proposed by Thomas Malthus. Theory focuses basically on the grand function of violence rather than the origin of violence or the relationship between the human nature and war or violence. Malthusian. Maintained that violence or war is of greater function, which is not intentionally articulated by man due to its invisibility, but it is deliberately engineered by God to check population outburst. Malthus. Blame human aggression or war situation on a disparity between the numbers of well-educated, well-fed, angry fighting-age young males, second, third, and fifth sons, and the number of positions available to them in society as a primary source of violence. Youth bulge theorists. Theory holds that youth bulge is the main source of war. Youth bulge. Is a level of macro-level theory of violence which explains cause of violence in the context of war. Historical theories. In the theories of violence, historians seem to be wary of making any sweeping explanation for all wars. Historical. WMD stands for Weapons of mass destruction. Theory is credited to the intellectual artistry of Thomas Hobbes. Hobbesian theory. Hobbesian theory is credited to the intellectual artistry of Thomas Hobbes. Rousseauan theory was propounded by J. Rousseau. Contributed on the subject of social contract, where he presented an opinion contrary to the one provided by Thomas Hobbes about the prevailing situation on the state of nature. Rousseau. According to man cannot be said to be naturally violent, and the state of nature was very peaceful, no aggression among men. Rousseau. Makes us to understand that democracies don't engage themselves in violent hostility or war. Democratic peace theory. DPT stands for Democratic peace theory. Argues that there is no way states will absolutely uphold the principle of collectivism due to the individualistic nature of state behavior in international relations. Political realism. Is a source of power transition such that the differentials between the power capabilities narrow between the advanced, strong, and disadvantaged, weak, nations. Violence. School is of the opinion that violence is not necessary but absolutely inevitable. Cyclical theory of war. The of violence is of the view that violence is a function of class struggle. Marxist theory. Argues that perpetrators of aggression are rational. Rationalist theory. According to the rationalist theorists, operates largely on the corridor of reciprocity. Violence. Violence, according to the operates largely on the corridor of reciprocity. Rationalist theorists. According to no less than 2 million people are in prison in the United States, while in the same country at least 2 condemned prisoners are executions on weekly basis. Garland. Theory describes the causal relationships between society and crime. Marxist theory. Drew a nexus between crime and economic and social conditions. Bonker. According to the much lower incidence of crime in Western Europe than in the United States is because Europe is more socialist than America. Milton Mankoff. According to Milton Mankoff, the much lower incidence of crime in Western Europe than in the United States is because Europe is more socialist than America. The environmentalist theory was popularized by and Patricia Brantingham in the 1980s. Paul. The environmentalist theory was popularized by Paul and in the 1980s. Patricia Brantingham. The environmentalist theory was popularized by in the 1980s. Paul and Patricia Brantingham. The environmentalist theory was popularized by Paul and Patricia Brantingham in the 1980s. Theory opines that crime control can be carried out through the application of large pin maps to illustrates the areas where crimes occurred. Environmentalist theory. Did stand for crime prevention through environmental design. Are made to outlaw some acts which are considered to be criminal. Laws. Are meted out on the offenders of crimes without looking at the nature and the impact of such criminal acts. Punishment or sanctions. Is a form of positivist theory, which blames incidents of crime and acts of criminality on injustice. Social democratic positivism. Is a theoretical approach that emerged in the 1920s, as formulae to guarantee the world peace and security. Idealism. Approach opines that security can best be managed through non-coercive or non-violent process, owing to the fact that violence would only give birth to further violence. Idealism. Is a response to the failure of idealist approach in preventing the outbreak of the World War II. Realism. Pluralist approach emerged in the 1960s. Approach was a departure from the state-centered security system that dominated the world system during the early Cold War era. Pluralist approach. Articulated that balance of power, a key element of realism, had not only failed to protect human race against insecurity, but it had also aggravated pains that accompanied such insecurity. Pluralists admonish states to discountenance any of their self-interest policies that are considered to be immoral or capable of undermining international security. Pluralists admonish to discountenance any of their self-interest policies that are considered to be immoral or capable of undermining international security states. Marxism approach became popular in security studies in the 1970s. According to approach, economic factors and struggle for the control of state resources are the basis for security relations among states. Marxism approach opines that the state should control the economy and abolish private ownership of property, and every individual should be catered for according to his/her needs. Marxist approach. UNDP stands for United Nations Development Programme. Is an all-encompassing condition in which individual citizens live in freedom, peace, and safety. Security. Is a refined, analyzed and evaluated information or data gathered through either overt, open, or clandestine, secret, means or both. Intelligence. Is about the thousands and thousands of routine everyday observations and activities. Intelligence. Is knowledge, organization, and activity intelligence. Intelligence is organization and activity knowledge. Intelligence is knowledge, and activity. Organization. Intelligence is knowledge, organization, and activity. Intelligence is knowledge, organization, and activity. Is the product resulting from the collection, evaluation, analysis, integration, and interpretation of all available information which concerns one or more aspect of foreign nations or areas of operation which immediately or potentially significant for planning. Intelligence. Is a special kind of knowledge, a specialized subset of information that has been put through a systematic analytical process in order to support a state's decision and policy makers. Intelligence. Can be described as what a state must possess regarding other states in order to assure itself that its cause will not suffer nor its undertakings fail because its statesmen and soldiers plan and act in ignorance. Intelligence. Is described as a process through which information is collected or gathered. Intelligence. In Nigeria, the intelligence unit of the is mandated by the law to carry out home security intelligence. Nigeria Police. The performs the task of providing military and strategic intelligence. Directorate of Military Intelligence. DMI stands for Directorate of Military Intelligence. Performs all functions ranging from domestic, paramilitary to foreign intelligence. Central Intelligence Agency. CIA stands for Central Intelligence Agency. The intelligence services undergo the process of which will be analyzed and evaluated. Collecting information. Is a kind of intelligence activity or function carried out by the relevant service or intelligence agency to provide evidence in support of prosecution of any criminal suspects. Criminal intelligence. Form of intelligence, according to Kant, 1965:209-210, can be described as the intelligence behind the police function, the knowledge and the activity which defensive police forces must have before they take specific action against the individual ill-wisher or ill-doer. Security intelligence. Usually involves collecting, collating, analyzing, evaluating, and disseminating information that can protect a nation against internal threats. Security intelligence. Has been a great challenge to the prosecution of criminal suspects in Nigeria. Lack of adequate criminal intelligence. SSS stands for State Security Service. Is that intelligence, which involves gathering, collating, analyzing and evaluating as well as disseminating information within a given state for the effective management of national security. Home security or national intelligence. Is a traditional form of intelligence in which the intelligence activity takes place outside the home country. Foreign intelligence. Category of intelligence tends to focus basically on gathering, analyzing and evaluating about the capabilities, vulnerabilities, and aims of foreign countries. Strategic intelligence. Can be adequately conducted by any country or party, if there is strategic intelligence, which will help decision makers to take into account fundamental uncertainties about the future. Net assessment. Net assessment can be adequately conducted by any country or party if there is strategic intelligence which will help decision makers to take into account fundamental uncertainties about the future. Involves developing an analytical framework that takes into account the strategic goals, doctrines, operational concepts, and strategic military capabilities of competing countries, alliances as well as several other international actors. Net assessment. Involves devolution of responsibility among the hierarchy of personnel in an intelligence service such that information are collected, collated, analyzed and evaluated for the use by the leadership or top management for short-term policy agenda. Tactical intelligence. Involves measures to counter any foreign intelligence activities, capable of constituting a threat to national security. Counterintelligence. Is very crucial to carrying out intelligence tasks. Information. Information is very crucial to carrying out tasks. Intelligence. Can defined as the procurement of information believed to be pertinent to decision-maker intelligence collection. Can be described as a process of gathering and assembling information through several methods for the purpose of producing intelligence. Intelligence collection. Intelligence collection disciplines can be divided into 2. Intelligence collection disciplines can be divided into 2 technical and non-technical means. The technical forms of intelligence disciplines include the following: signals intelligence, imager of intelligence, measurement and signatures intelligence. SIGINT stands for signals intelligence. IMINT stands for imager of intelligence. MOSINT stands for measurement and signatures intelligence. HUMINT stands for human intelligence. OSINT stands for open source intelligence. Non-technical intelligence disciplines include human intelligence, HUMINT, and open source intelligence, OSINT. Involves gathering intelligence through interception or seizing of electronic communications signals intelligence. Involves the use of satellite images for the collection of intelligence. Imagery intelligence. Is a method of collecting information through the use of snapshots to provide security imagery intelligence. Is scientific and technical intelligence. Measurement and signatures intelligence. Radon stands for radar intelligence. Acoustant stands for acoustic intelligence. NOSINT stands for nuclear intelligence. RF/IMPINT stands for radio frequency/electromagnetic pulse intelligence. Electro-optant stands for Electro-optical intelligence. Laser intelligence. LASINT stands for dash dash. RINT stands for dash dash. Unintentional radiation intelligence. SPINT stands for dash dash. Chemical and biological intelligence. DUINT stands for dash dash. Directed energy weapons intelligence. Dash involves covert or secret collection of intelligence through human sources. Human intelligence. Dash involves collection of intelligence through public sources like archival resources, government documents, academic and professional materials, media, etc. Open source intelligence. Dash usually involves the art of covertly or secretly collecting information through the use of human sources. Espionage. According to the United States Department of Defense, DOD, dash refers to the act of obtaining, delivering, transmitting, commenting, or receiving information about the nation defense with an intent, or reason to believe, that the information may be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation's espionage. Dash is a traditional intelligence system in which some individuals are appointed on full-time or part-time basis, to work for some government, or intelligence agencies, either private or public, to steal valuable or important information from enemy targets with the aim of having strategic advantage over them. Spying or espionage. Agents are also known as dash dash. Assets. Dash are spies who gather information. Agent. Dash are involved in all sorts of clandestine reporting, sipping, or stealing, and illegitimately breaking into the information systems of their target parties, i.e. nations, business organizations, security agencies among others. Agent. The business of spying is structured in a dash dash cell form. Dash are support personnel who assist the spies in managing their clandestine communication by securing them, the communications, against enemy's interceptions or detection. Couriers. Dash are clandestine or secret ways of making illegitimate entry into the information facility, IES, of any target party for intelligence purpose, S. Black bag operations. Dash involves putting questions to person, S, with the aim of getting information which can help, which can aid intelligence collection. Interrogation. A kind of interrogation technique in which people or person being interrogated is subjected to sleep deprivation or exposed to continual loud sound, etc. Suggestibility. Dash technique involve interrogators watching the body language of the person, S, or suspects, being interrogated. Read. Dash is a process of interrogating a person, suspect, to getting information from him/her through infliction of extreme physical pain. Torture. Dash includes severe beating, jaw breaking, head breaking, face and/or body mutilation, rib crushing among others. Torture. Dash are used to pass instructions or messages to spies or used to deceive the public or the government, management, of the target countries, organizations. Number stations. Dash is a form of shortwave radio in which transmission is targeted towards aiding communication flow between the spies or agents working on the field and their respective intelligence agencies, employers. One-way voice link. OWVL stands for dash dash. One-way voice link. Dash system allows the spies to transmit already recorded message without having to stay on air for so long. One-way voice link. The term steganography emanated from the Greek word, meaning dash dash. Covered or hidden. Dash technique involves sending information to the recipient in a hidden way. Steganography. Examples of steganography include dash dash. Invisible ink, chaffing, and winnowing, etc. Dash is art and process of writing in secret characters. Cryptography. Dash are devices that we can secretly hide information or things, i.e. paper, and they will look like ordinary object. Concealment devices. Dash dash. Dash is device which can be left open while concealing some information materials in its hidden compartment that can be hardly noticed by anybody. Diversion safe. Dash is a method which involves one secretly listening to a private conversation or discussion. Eavesdropping. Dash is the act of watching people or objects. Surveillance. Dash is the use of technologies to measure and study the physical and behavioral features of person, s, for the purpose of authentication, identification, or screening. Biometric surveillance. DA stands for dash dash. Crime prevention through environmental design. Dash technique underscores the importance of the character of any society in influencing the behavior of anybody attempting to commit crime. Natural surveillance. Dash operations are often targeted towards collecting strategic information for intelligence purposes. Pseudo operations. Dash are those that voluntarily give information to law enforcement agents. Walk-ins. Dash is that art and science of information gathering for intelligence activities. Intelligence collection. Dash is the process of determining out of the available information, the ones that are useful in producing intelligence. Intelligence analysis. Dash is a very vital element of intelligence planning and production. Analysis. Dash is the process of putting information in the right perspective by removing that information that is not useful as well those that are distorted or false in intelligence planning and production. Intelligence analysis. The analysts usually apply some specific methodologies in the conduct of intelligence analysis and they're often referred to as dash dash. Analytic tradecraft. Refers to efforts made by intelligence organizations to prevent hostile or enemy intelligence organizations from successfully gathering and collecting intelligence against them. Counterintelligence. FBI stands for dash dash. Federal Bureau for Investigation. Dash aspect draws its attention on identifying vulnerable areas in one's intelligence organization, S, which can be explored by foreign intelligence services, FIS. Defensive counterintelligence. FIS stands dash foreign intelligence services. Dash include all activities that are targeted towards arresting the mischief of the enemy parties. Offensive counterintelligence operations. CFSO stands dash dash. Counterintelligence force protection source operations. Dash involve human source operations in which clandestine activities are conducted abroad. Intended to fill the exiting gap in national coverage, as well as the combatant commander's intelligence requirements. Counterintelligence force protection source operations. Dash is that part of management concerned with people at work and with their relationship within an enterprise. Personnel management. Dash can be described as how the efforts of the people who make up the enterprise can be so organized and developed in order to attain the highest level of efficiency, adaptability, and productivity. Personnel management. Dash is the process through which security organization, or any other organization, gives a detailed explanation and catalog of the purposes, expectations, duties, features, behaviors, and relevant skills that a particular job evokes on the job seekers. Job analysis. Olis, 2005, describes Dash as a systematic investigation of job content, the physical circumstances in which the job is carried out, the qualification needed to carry out the job responsibilities. Dash dash. Job design. Dash is considered to be the foundation or building block for most resource system. Job analysis. EFCC stands for dash dash. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Dash can be described as the totality of what the job entails. Content. DPO stands for dash dash. Divisional Police Officer. The dash report to the Inspector General of Police, IGP, or his representative, S, who often are superior officers, DIGs. AIGs. The AIGs report to the dash or his representative, S, who often are superior officers, DIGs. Inspector General of Police, IGP. IGP stands for dash dash. Inspector General of Police. Dash is the art of giving a detailed account of the task, which a particular job demands. Job description. Dash is a structured conversation designed to achieve a purpose. Interview. Dash is the systematic development of the attitude and skill behavior pattern required by an individual in order to perform adequately a given task. Training. Dash is designed to change the behavior of the employee in the workplace in order to stimulate efficiency and higher performance standards. Training. Dash refers to a system that helps to evaluate the past and present behavior of employees with the use of systematic and standardized form which can be used in future by employee and or the employer. Performance appraisal. According to OLAS, 2005:138, Dash is the formal assessment of how employees are performing their jobs in relation to established standards. Performance appraisal. Dash can be described as the systematic assessment of job in relation to strengths and weaknesses of any employee or group of employees. Performance appraisal means a systematic process of gathering, checking, sharing, giving and using of systematic and standardized form for the purpose of evaluating performance of people at work aimed at improving their work performance. Performance appraisal. Dash method of performance appraisal or evaluation mainly focuses on particular behavior or act of employee, S, as it concerns job performance. Graphic rating scale. Dash is a performance appraisal method that involves the employee's supervisor describing his or her, employee's, performance at work in writing not without considering some fundamental variables like the overall appraisal of employee's performance, employee's promotability, and employee's strengths and weaknesses. Written assessment. Dash is a performance appraisal method which addresses the problem of subjectivity that characterizes most of the other methods. Management by objectives. Dash is done by focusing on identifiable job result as the basis for performance evaluation. Management by objectives. MBO stands for dash dash. Management by objectives. Dash is when the behavior of the employee is rated by drawing a long list of positive and negative adjectives, and see how they apply to him or her. Checklist method. Dash method involves evaluating the employee's behavior or act through several sources like supervisors, subordinates, colleagues, himself/herself, etc. Multi-raters. Multi-raters is also known as dash dash. 360 appraisal. GIGO stands for dash dash. Garbage in, garbage out. Dash dash. Conceptually, according to Funk and Vignal's Standards Dictionary, dash can be described as the act of compensating to make suitable amends to or for, requite, remunerate. Compensation. The following are the elements of compensation and rewards: salary, wage, incentives, benefits, insurance. Dash is referred to as weekly or monthly or yearly payment made to employee for the service rendered. Salary. Dash is hourly pay made to any employees for the work done. Wage. Dash include rewards provided by organizations to encourage any employees in form of profit sharing, bonus, etc., in recognition of their contributions towards the growth of the organization. Incentives. Dash are additional monetary privileges being enjoyed by employees in form of allowances like meal subsidy, housing allowance, and transport allowance, among others. Benefits. Dash enables the employee to have a sense of security, which will make him, in the case of any eventuality like death or permanent disability, to have the hope that either him/herself or families will be taken care of. Insurance. Underscore can be defined as correlation between what an employee desires from his/her job and the extent at which the needs of the employee are met. Con. 1990. Job satisfaction. In job satisfaction discourse, dash principal models come to our minds. 5. Dash is a function of the degree at which an employee is allowed by organizational behavior to meet his/her individual needs or desires. Need fulfillment model. Underscore explains why most of the security personnel, both in public and private practice, have found it difficult to meet their individual needs and suffer deepening dissatisfaction at work. Need fulfillment model. Dash denotes that job satisfaction is a subject of met expectations. Discrepancies model. Dash can be described as the difference between employee's expectation from the organization, in terms of remuneration, emoluments and other incentives, and what he/she actually gets from the organization. Met expectations. Dash means that employee gets job satisfaction based on how much he/she is being treated fairly at work. Equity model. In Dash model, job satisfaction is derived by an employee provided that the job conforms to his or her traits. Trait/genetic components model. Dash explains job satisfaction in terms of how much employees are allowed by the organization to meet their work values, personal belief and principles. Value attainment model. According to Dash, leadership can be defined as the ability to influence a group toward the achievement of goals. Robbins, 2001. According to Robbins, 2001, Dash can be defined as the ability to influence a group toward the achievement of goals. Leadership. Dash involves the process of directing the affairs of any organization, coordinating and controlling the personnel towards working to realize the overall goals of the organization. Leadership. According to Gibson et al., 1997, there are Dash dimensions of leadership. 3. Dash can be defined as the transmission of information and understanding the use of common symbols, Gibson et al., 1997. Communication. Dash is a process of sending and receiving information as well as getting feedback. Communication. Dash involves the process of message encoding which is passed to the employees, and if the message is not carefully coded, decoding it may be a very difficult task. Communication. In security organizations, communication should consist of certain elements which include a. Presence of clear and formal channel of communication among the personnel in the organization. b. Authentication of communication. c. The course of communication should be direct and short. The use of extremely technical terms should be avoided as much as possible. e. d. Competent staff should man or be in charge of the organization's communication facilities, with good knowledge of security codes and language, etc. Every job, ranging from menial jobs, helping, academic and security profession, has its own hazards, or simply dash. Stress. In dash, the United Nations submitted that job stress is the 20th century disease. 1992. In 1992, the United Nations submitted that job stress is dash, the 20th century disease. Dash often leads to physical and psychological discomforts in security employees. Stress. Dash energizes and propels individuals physically and psychologically. Challenge. Dash motivates us to learn and acquire new skills, and to be competent in our various chosen jobs. Challenge. Dash is that which poses significant threat to employees' health and consequently to the health of an organization. Job stress. NIOSH stands for dash. National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. According to the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, commonly termed NIOSH, 1999, defined dash as the harmful physical and emotional responses that occur when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, or needs of the employee. Job stress. Dash as a phenomenon has been defined by Cooper, Arnold, and Robertson, 1995, as any force that pushes a psychological or physical factor beyond its range of stability, producing a strain within the individual. Stress. Dash defines stress as any characteristic of the job environment, which poses a threat to the individual. Kaplan, Cobb, French, Van Harrison and Pinot, 1975. Kaplan, Cobb, French, Van Harrison and Pinot, 1975, defined dash as any characteristic of the job environment, which poses a threat to the individual. Stress. Beer and Newman, 1978, extensively defined dash as a condition wherein job-related factors interact with the worker to change, disrupt or enhance, his or her psychological or and physiological conditions such that the person, mind and or body, is forced to deviate from normal functioning. Job stress. Extensively defined job stress as a condition wherein job-related factors interact with the worker to change, disrupt or enhance, his or her psychological or and physiological conditions such that the person, mind and or body, is forced to deviate from normal functioning. Beer and Newman, 1978. Defined stress as the stereotyped response of the body to exerting tasks such as changes, which occur when an individual has to cope with any type of situation. Hansil, 1956-1956, defined as the stereotyped response of the body to exerting tasks such as changes, which occur when an individual has to cope with any type of situation. Stress. General Adaptation Syndrome, GAS, describes the three stages an individual encounters in stressful conditions. Alarm stage, resistance stage, exhaustion stage. GAS stands for General Adaptation Syndrome, in which the body responds when it becomes aware of stress or threat. Alarm stage, describes the phase where the individual's defense mechanism becomes active. Resistance stage, involves the collapse of adaptive mechanisms which results to physical and psychological discomforts. Exhaustion stage, was directly related to unpleasant working condition, the necessity to work fast and to expend a lot of physical effort and inconvenient work schedule being experienced by many security employees can lead to stress. Poor mental health. Maintain that the incessant routine nature of these activities combined with poor working conditions such as being exposed too long to poisonous gases, excessive light rays, heat, and noise can lead to feelings of being trapped and dehumanized. Arnold et al., 1995. Is the scheduling system of work, which impinges excessive physical and psychological costs to the worker. Shift work. Occurs when an individual is faced with a set of obligations, which when taken as a whole require him to do more than he is able to in the time available. Work overload. Described workload in terms of quantitative overload that refers to having too much work to do, as well as qualitative overload that refers to work that is too difficult for an individual. French and Kaplan, 1972. French and Kaplan, 1972. Described in terms of quantitative overload that refers to having too much work to do, as well as qualitative overload that refers to work that is too difficult for an individual. Workload. Refers to repetitive routine, boring and understimulating work and has been associated with ill health. Work underload. Described work underload as problem of not being sufficiently challenged by work. Cox, 1980. Cox, 1980, described as problem of not being sufficiently challenged by work. Work underload. Exists when the job or role is poorly defined, there is uncertainty about job expectations and where supervisory staff and their subordinates have different expectations of an employee's responsibilities. Role ambiguity. Is a situation when an individual is torn by conflicting role demands or by doing things he or she does not really want to do, or things, which he or she does not believe are part of the job. Role conflict. Role conflict has undesirable outcome for both the employee and the employer. True. Has undesirable outcome for both the employee and the employer. Role conflict. Found that role conflict can lead to cardiovascular ill health risks. Ivan Sevic and Madison, 1980. Cooper and Robertson, 1995, categorized responsibility into ... 2. Cooper and Robertson, 1995, categorized responsibility into two ... and ... Responsibility for people and for things like budget and equipment. Workers who said that their boss was low on consideration reported feeling of more ... Job pressure. Aims at decreasing or minimizing the amount of stress a person experiences. Stress reduction. Dash strategy helps employee to develop physical and psychological stamina against potentially harmful stressors, and the most widely recommended strategy include physical exercise, proper diet, and weight control. Stress resilience. Dash helps people rejuvenate physically and psychologically after exposure to severe distress. Stress recuperation. Dash involves programs that can teach each security employees or other workers about the nature and sources of stress, the effects of stress on health, and personal skills to reduce stress. Stress management. In a situation where the traumatic experience becomes very severe, symptoms can group together to form a condition known as acute stress disorder, ASD. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. ASD stands for acute stress disorder. REBT stands for rational emotive behavior therapy. Is a humanistic perspective of psychotherapy, which sees man as being responsible for any emotional or psychological problem that disturbs him. Rational emotive behavior therapy. Assumes that human being has capacities for both rational or straight thinking and irrational or tricky thinking. Rational emotive behavior therapy. The term public relations was made popular by Thomas Jefferson. The term public relations was made popular by Thomas Jefferson, a former U.S. president, when he was addressing the Congress in 1807 can be described as a management function which tabulates, defines the policies, procedures, and interest of an organization, followed by executing a program of action to earn public understanding and acceptance. Public relations. Can be defined as a set of management, supervisory, and technical functions that foster an organization's ability to strategically listen to, appreciate, and respond to those persons whose mutually beneficial relationships with the organization are necessary if it is to achieve its missions and values. Public relations. NGO stands for non-governmental organization. By the Nigeria police moved beyond its traditional public relations system in which the PR activities could be carried out by any officer. 1953 Pro stands for Public Relations Officer. Due to the new political development at that time, regions were replaced with states under the military government led by General Yakubu Gowon. Includes providing services for safety and protection of life and property of the customer. Security. Can be described as an area of business that is concerned with the production of goods and services, and involves the responsibility of ensuring that business operations are efficient and effective. Operational management. Is the management of resources, the distribution of goods and services to customers, and the analysis of Q systems. Operational management. Operational management is an age-long practice. True. SARS stands for Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The tasks performed by operational personnel may include the following: by observing security procedures and suggest measures that can be taken to improve those procedures. 2. Rapidly responding to security incidents. 3. Assessing and installing security patches. 4. Maintaining or upgrading security facilities such as vehicles, armory, communication gadgets, information systems, etc. V. Preventing or guiding against electronic attacks and communication interception, etc. Involves the activities aimed at managing incidents from when they are discovered to the execution of interventionist solutions to the problem or measures that can be applied to arrest the threat situations. Incident management. Can be described as the process of determining the production capacity needed by an organization to meet changing demands for its products. Capacity planning. Allows the management of a security organization to identify the discrepancy between the capacity of an organization and how the demands of its customers can lead to inefficiency on its part. Capacity planning. According to the Dictionary of Military Terms, Dash includes threats outside the range of conventional warfare and difficult to respond to in kind, example a suicide bomber. Asymmetric aggression or warfare. Dash involves an armed conflict between two or more parties where one party is considered as inferior while the other is perhaps seen as superior. Asymmetric warfare. Dash is basically that violent struggle between two or more state/non-state actors, or groups of actors, who possess a considerably level of unequal relation in the power equilibrium. Asymmetric aggression. Dash is a form of hostile relationship between two or more parties where a party is regarded as inferior, while the other is superior. Asymmetric aggression. Partisan was derived from the Tuscan word dash dash. Partigiano. Asymmetric aggression is that type of aggressive action in which at least one of the parties in violent relationship may be regarded